Hey guys, I'm Carrie Danger with 107.3 Alternative Cleveland, and we are so honored to be joined by Katie from NAMI of Greater Cleveland today. Katie, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, the holidays are kind of an interesting time for a lot of people, and I think it's really important that we hit some of these topics so that maybe it resonates with one of our listeners. So guys, let's go. So I've got some questions here, and I know we sent them over, and I want to start off with the holidays being overstimulating and stressful. Do you have any tips for anyone that might be like dreading a family gathering?
Yeah, so it's interesting, I think, to a lot of people that not everybody loves to hang out with their family in a large group, especially around holidays. It can be very stressful. And, to prepare for that, I always suggest that people take really good care of themselves ahead of time. Like, I know we hear about self-care, hydration, and exercise, and sleep, but it really does help. It prepares your body to be able to handle the stress a little bit better. I think another thing that's really helpful is have a plan. The Irish goodbye or the ghosting doesn't always work with the family. And so, be clear and concise with your family. Like, yeah, I'll be there at 4:30, but I need to leave by 6:30, whatever that looks like, so that you still maintain control over the situation. And just set boundaries, which we're going to talk about in a minute.
Absolutely.
So.
I will say from experience, setting that clear time of I have to leave at this time and make it known ahead of time. Don't like come in the door and just blurt it out to grandma.
Yeah.
You know, at least it's helped in my situation. I love my family so much, but there's so much traveling that I personally have to do that it becomes a problem. Like, oh, you're leaving already, and they give me a hard time, and I don't like that. I could brush it off, but it's hard. But setting that timeline, like, okay, I have to leave at 2:00. But I always get there nice and early. I'm always the first to arrive, the first to leave. That's my trick. Love you guys. So let's move into seasonal depression. It is so real, even if we don't want to acknowledge it. There's so many products out there that you can buy to get through these darker months. And I know that, with climate change, it's not as cold as normal, but it's still dark. Mm-hmm. And today it's actually pretty gloomy. Not everyone's got the extra money for the sad lamp or whatever, but do you suggest anything for someone suffering from seasonal depression?
So we're very lucky in Northeast Ohio to have terrible weather and no sunlight for at least 5 to 6 months out of the year.
Not everyone can say that.
And, SAD is actual seasonal affective disorder affects about 5% of the population, but we do see an increase in depressive symptoms throughout the winter because of the fact that it's dark. Like, it's dark when you wake up and it's dark when you leave work, and you never get to see the sun or enjoy the outside. So some tips to handle that sort of feeling regardless of finances include increasing physical activity. And I'm not saying like hit the gym 4 days a week. I'm saying take a lunch, go outside and take a walk, or just sit in nature and breathe. Increasing our oxygen intake is so helpful for our mental health. Vitamin D. So our region, historically, people test horribly for vitamin D just because we're not Florida or California. Good for you guys. But you can very easily get a vitamin D supplement pretty inexpensively, and start taking that on a daily basis to help up those levels and increase, your ability to deal with the darkness all the time. Another thing that's really important, and I know this is hard always to do, is to make fun plans and don't cancel them. Mm-hmm. I think we all kind of get into that habit, especially if it's cold outside or whatever. We get home, we take off our shoes, change our clothes, and we're done. I think if you can make sure that you keep those plans going and show up, you will find that you feel so much better at the end of it than you might have been when you were sitting on your couch thinking about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, making those plans. It's a good thing we give away a lot of concert tickets here. So a concert's always great. Live music is wonderful for the soul, but definitely some vitamin D and, move your body a little bit. Even I like, no matter what, to just stretch. That is a free activity you can do when you wake up and when you go to bed. Just move, get the blood pumping in some kind of way.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be a full-on yoga experience, even though yoga's great, but like, yeah, definitely.
But not everybody has the time or the energy for
YouTube
that.
a downward dog sesh and you're good.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, can you give our listeners some advice on, like we talked about earlier, setting and keeping those healthy boundaries with friends and family? Maybe they're newly sober, like myself. I'm just over a year. I'm still a baby. Thank you. Or working on their own identity. There's so many things that go into setting boundaries with family and friends, and I think it's important that they hear this.
So there is a lot of confusion around what boundaries are. I think a lot of people think my boundary controls your behavior, but in reality, a boundary is what I am willing to accept. So setting boundaries is saying, I'm willing to be around you, but if you're going to be drinking and misbehaving, I have to leave because I have to I can't make you stop drinking. I can't make you stop drinking too much, but I can remove myself from the situation. And so, when you set boundaries, it's really important to make them so that they're achievable. One of the things that we end up talking through with a lot of families around the holidays especially is, if their loved one is not necessarily taking their medication and it's not as easy to be around them, it's that, well, I don't feel comfortable kicking them out of the house or cutting them off or whatever that may be. And we stress to them, you have to set a boundary that you are comfortable with, because I can't tell you these are the things you have to do. You have to be able to say, if you're not in by 10, you're not going to be able to get into the house for the night. And if that's something you're comfortable with, then that's a good boundary. If the alternative is something different, you have to define it.
Absolutely. And especially, it's always important too, if you're going to have the gathering at your house, you set the rules.
Absolutely.
And again, with going somewhere else, you set the rules for yourself there.
Absolutely.
The timeline, that makes a big difference. Oh man, have you seen those signs where it says, please leave by 9?
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, welcome.
Hey.
Now get out.
See ya, bye. Shoes off at the door. Bye. Awesome. Okay, so this one's heavy. I personally have lost so many around Thanksgiving. We're at 4 now, unfortunately. And it's really, really hard certain years to keep a smile when you just miss them.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to bring the party down, things like that. How would you guide someone who's experiencing that loss around the holidays? And I know a lot of us, not me, but I have siblings, have kids of their own that they want to make it special. Those kids don't understand or whatever, but how would you help someone through that?
So first and foremost, let yourself grieve. Ignoring the feeling, pushing the feeling away, trying to avoid the feeling is just going to make it come back at the most inopportune time in the biggest amount possible. So give yourself time and space to grieve, especially, if it's not fresh, if it's been years, it's appropriate to still grieve. That was somebody who very likely was a major part of your life, who had an impact and made you who you are today. So give yourself time and space to grieve. One of the things that is also really helpful is to set aside specific time for memories of that person, allowing yourself to discuss with somebody who has a shared experience, maybe the good things about that person and the things that you miss, and setting new traditions. If we've done things a certain way and that person was always present, it can be very activating to continue doing them that way. And especially when kids are involved,
Mm-hmm.
This is a tradition that I'm going to create for us, because now this year our holiday is about us. Those are some pretty good steps to take, but most importantly, feel it.
Yeah, always feel it. If you gotta cry, just go cry. And maybe you're with someone who can hold you while you cry.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
always nice. Now, we just talked about it. 2025 is knocking at the door. Oh my gosh, the new year is around the corner, and how many of us set these resolutions, and unfortunately, sometimes they're just unrealistic. Let's just be real with ourselves. If we're not honest with ourselves, then how can we continue? So, how would you prepare someone moving into these resolutions that might just be a little too high? I always say shoot for the stars, but you gotta be real with yourself,
Yeah.
So, how would you tell someone to set those amazing goals, but don't bite off more than you can chew.
So if I had $1 for every time one of my friends has complained or posted on socials about like the January gym club, and you know, we've all been victim, I'm sure, to the $10 memberships and everything else that we don't use for 3 months. Speaking from experience.
Been there.
You know, so it's important to remember that a resolution is a promise that you're making to yourself to either begin a good habit or stop a bad habit. And I hate to say it, but SMART goals are the way to go. So for anybody who's not familiar with SMART goals, it is something that is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time measured. And so if I have not gone to the gym for 4 years, saying I'm going to go to the gym 4 days a week starting January 1.
6 a.m.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every day. I'm going to set the alarm early and I'm going to get out of bed. And I'm a 9 a.m. person. Like, my sweet spot is between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. to wake up. I don't get to do that during the week, obviously. But like getting up at 6 a.m. is a no-go for me. So, you know, maybe it is taking a 30-minute walk every day, or increasing your water intake, or trying one new thing a week, whatever that looks like for you. It has to be something that you can actually attain based on who you are today, not who you want to be in 6 months. You know, like to sit here and say, I want to lose 125 pounds by the end of next year. No, I want to lose 10 pounds by the end of March.
Yeah.
Like that is
Bring
something, yes. And the what is the saying? The best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So creating those goals in kind of bite-sized pieces. Like my end goal may be this, but to get there, these are the 6 things I have to do. That's really the best way to do it. And also don't be hard on yourself if you don't attain that goal, because I guarantee you probably, if you did anything towards meeting that goal, started a new habit that's positive. It may not be the gym 5 days a week.
And that's okay.
Yeah, but it's, you know, but it's increasing your steps every day or whatever that looks like.
Getting a stretch in morning and night.
Yeah,
it's that
stretching.
easy. Totally free. I will say, if someone out there is thinking they want to increase their water, get a bottle you like. Love that water bottle. Make it cute. Boom. Yep. Cute. And it looks like it doesn't leak either, which is wonderful. So I love that. Get a bottle you like. Start small. And I also like to remind my friends that you don't have to wait till January 1st to do anything.
Absolutely.
Right now, you could do it right now, today. Go get that bottle you like, splurge on yourself, treat yourself, as they would say in Parks and Rec. So finally, can you tell us where we can reach out if someone we know or ourselves are suffering from mental health crisis or considering any self-harm?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, if it is a very eminent safety issue, like something's going to be happening in the next few minutes, 911 is your first call. If there is literally no way to talk or get your way out of that situation, 911 is it. One of the things I will say is, if your loved one is experiencing a mental health crisis, mention to the dispatcher that you would like to have a CIT officer dispatched. That is an officer that is specifically trained in crisis intervention with individuals that are having mental health crisis. And I've actually had experience in my professional career working with CIT officers, and it is a huge difference. You know, they just come in with empathy and compassion. Not that all police officers don't, but it's another level of understanding that they get from those trainings. And a lot of the departments in our region have at least 1 or 2 officers, if not more. I think where we're at in Cuyahoga County, Cleveland Police Department has over 100 and some officers that are trained. So it can make the difference between you know, a ambulance ride and a conversation. Second, if it's something that you can feel it brewing, but it's not quite there to the point you need to call 911, you want to call 988. 988 is a local crisis helpline that gets routed to an organization in your vicinity. I think in Summit County, it's Coleman Behavioral Health. In Cuyahoga County, it is Frontline. And It is a trained individual who is there to help talk you through whatever the crisis may be, offer you resources, maybe determine whether or not it needs to be escalated, and just get you the support and help that you need. Now, if you're not in crisis, but you're struggling, which is always the best time to get help, you don't want to let yourself get to the point that crisis is happening. I will do a personal plug. NAMI Greater Cleveland. We have a helpline, and that number is 7776. We have 2 phone numbers, and I always get them confused. But 7776 is the helpline, and we have trained individuals there from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, who, if you call and you say, I need to see a therapist, I haven't been able to find somebody who takes my insurance, which is very common, and these are the things that are going on, we will help triage the situation and make the connection to the resources that you need, to make sure that you get the support that you need. And then we follow up to make sure that the resource was a good fit.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I will say, folks, if you can, I know insurance makes it a little difficult sometimes, but I will say when I was in crisis from experience, I contacted my insurance. They put me on wait list. And that wait list was from August to like late December. But thankfully, I made the move to just go somewhere and start immediately. Don't wait. Do what you can. Talk to a trusted friend. Call NAMI of Greater Cleveland. And we'll link all these numbers and everything and all the details in the post. And you can't miss it. And Katie, I can't thank you enough for coming in.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I hope you have a great holiday season.
I hope so too.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank
Thank you.
you.